a social conversation or just like a social vibe with someone, you gotta talk, you gotta express yourself, you gotta say things. Some things are really dumb that we say. Like we talk about weather, that's a very dumb thing. We talk about like a very common one is we all humans like to cry together for certain things. Oh yeah, you got the traffic, I got the traffic, man. Fuck, that's bad. Oh shit, your boss sucks, man. Boss sucks, my boss sucks. Even harder, you know. So it's like, oh, we come together. We come together to bitch. That's one thing. Another thing that we talk about is pride. That's a huge one. Taking pride in something. Oh, you're from Europe. Oh, I'm from Europe. You're from India. I'm from India. Oh, you're Canadian. I'm Canadian. You know, it's Canada Day today, by the way. It's a huge one. The greatest topic of conversation is pride. Like, I belong to this particular group or setup. So, oh, you too? Awesome. High five. You know, that's a very common thing to talk about. Many things people talk about. Most of the things are usually going in a direction where we want to agree to each other in order to build social rapport. Because if we don't agree to each other and we're not like, hey, you work out, I work out, then it's like, hey, you work out and I don't work out. You must be better than me. Or I work out, you don't work out, I am better than you. So, you know, that just makes a conversation a very win-lose kind of a conversation. That's also a conversation, by the way. That's also something to talk about or something to think about. But that doesn't bring a sense of belonging. Sense of belongings are usually when we say that we have something to cheer for together. Like, I'm watching soccer, I'm cheering Brazil. Oh, you're cheering Brazil. Woo! Let's get together and like make some noise. You know, hey, it's St. Patrick's. Let's have beer. That's something to talk about. You know, we're all drinking beer. We're in this together. We're one. It gives a sense of belonging. That's why we talk. This is the sole reason to. It's basically everyone wants to connect. Everyone wants to belong. Everyone has that craving to connect with each other, even if you meet strangers or you make friends, people you call friends. You know, you want to connect. That's why you want to talk. There's a deeper urge, something deeper than superficial topics that we pick up to connect with each other, and those deeper urges are way more there than mere topics of conversation. And I see it very well. I like to stay silent these days. I like to not talk so much because I don't know. It feels good though. It feels really good. I haven't felt this good in so long, because when you're mostly silent and mostly not talking, then you are left. First phase is that you're left with your own thoughts, right? And then after that, even thoughts start to leave you, or you start to witness the thoughts, right? So it starts to become very, very empty, and then there's no such thing as social inhibition left, or there's not a lot of awkwardness left, because you're going more and more into silence, going more and more into not talking, keeping the words limited, keeping the thoughts limited. It's crazy, because when we think in any kind of social setup that, oh, if I don't say something, if I don't, say something funny, or if I don't say something to fill the gap, then, I would be not accepted in the social environment, or I may not be as cool, or where would I really belong? Nobody would like me. Those are the things that come into our hearts. But if you get past that thing, and I've been experimenting on that, it's a real life experiment. I can always be interactive and, you know, be social if I have to be, but I try not to do that because it takes so much energy. It takes so much energy to simply create that social construct where you have a particular role to play and then you stick to that role, and you it's just exhausting. Once you stop doing those things, you realize that there is a lot more happening within and without, or you can say around you, that doesn't need a lot of words, or doesn't need a lot of expression. A lot of things are already happening without saying a lot of things. If you think that, oh, if I stop talking to people, if I stop behaving certain way, you know, like sometimes we have a behavior of, hey, I'm a picky person, I have a choice, that's my act that I put out, right? Sometimes like, hey, I'm the funny person, I always want to say something that has to be funny so that, you know, I can break a certain monotony in an environment and stand out, you know, and be liked by people. Oh, I must have the greatest clothing, the best clothing in my circle, because that's how I sustain my identity. I look good, you know, get the best haircut and stuff like that. So basically all of these things are characteristics that we find, we stick to. It starts to happen at a very, very younger age, when we are developing the ego. We're trying to belong in our friend circle. You know, some people like to keep a hair a certain way, color their hair a certain way, do piercings and have tattoos and stuff like that, and wear certain clothes, do certain things, you know, have certain passions, even helping out. I like to help people. Even sometimes that becomes a part of your character or attitude, or something that represents you. But if we choose to walk out of putting so much energy into building that character up, then you will see that this character will soon start to break down, at least in everyone's eyes, and you'll find yourself to be in the social and at the same time not be in the social as a social person, but as a witness of everything that's going around. And fun thing about that is that you have to start this, call it a game, call it an experiment, or call it a way of living, or whatever you want to call it. You gotta start it by being absolutely non-judgmental, like absolutely having no biased feelings for anyone or for you, even yourself. Just being completely empty, clear, and you go out there and start being that new person. Well, a person who's not really not. So when you do that, interesting things start to happen. You start to observe the environment, the people, the social, the general, everything from a very top angle, from a bird's eye view, and it starts to feel funny. Initially you start to laugh at your own old character that you were playing for so long. It feels so funny, like I've been taking myself so seriously all along, and then you see that same thing happening in everyone around you, like, okay, they are also taking their character very seriously. So you can choose to laugh, but that could offend some people on a very superficial level. But you can choose to laugh, you can choose not to laugh. That's completely up to you. You're a free person. You can choose to express the way you want to. I choose to laugh in certain places when it feels like I should, and when I don't laugh sometimes. You just let everything be, and you will realize when you're in that phase, a lot of work that was going into impressing others and keeping up with your character or your act, you become very light. The energy becomes very light, and you feel this sense of power that's been given to you. It feels like you're very powerful because all of that energy that's now has been saved, that was going into that character development, is now being used for existing and experiencing this existence, which becomes very delicious, becomes very, very, very felt. It feels like for the first time, for me it at least felt like for the first time, that I was actually really living, not thinking too much about what's going to happen, where it's going to go, anything, and not even thinking about all the past things I did or past mistakes or whatever the stories I like to hold on to. And it's liberating. It's absolutely liberating to be here and now.